Thank you for joining us. I'm Randall Bennett. Cell phones, of course, are on the rise. Over the last 10, 15 years, everyone's been getting a cell phone, but now cell phone companies, especially regional ones competing for those extra dollars, are trying to make it more appealing than a landline. A small company called MetroPCS, which is a regional carrier, has integrated a program that allows people to call one number and it'll ring up to 4 or 5 or 6 cell phones. Now this program obviously is a slight at the landline market, and they're trying to get rid of those landlines. But is this actually going to work? And do other things like femtocells or other programs to get rid of landlines work? Let's talk to two of the experts. We have Maggie Reardon from CNET News. Maggie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have Matt Burns from CrunchGear. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So let's talk about this. I mean, I haven't had a landline since college, and that was just because it was forced on me by my dorm. My parents, they're a bit older. They're in their 70s. And they don't have a landline either, just cell phones. Maggie, do you have a landline still, or do you think, what do you think it's going to take for everyone to get rid of their landline?
Well, I don't have a landline anymore, but my father still does. He's up there in the older range too, kind of mid-60s. But I think he's probably going to go that way soon and I think he's going to be like a lot of people and like your parents. And I think the economic downturn is really going to sort of push people toward getting rid of their landlines, because people are just going to realize, hey, I don't need this. I mean, we've got over 84% of the United States population has got some kind of cell phone. So that tells me that pretty much everybody who's walking around is carrying a cell phone, and I think we're probably going to get to that point pretty soon. The one thing that I think could maybe make it not happen altogether is 911 service. I mean, E911 works pretty well when you've got a cell phone, but for people who have small children at home, or maybe some elderly folks at home who might need emergency services, it's a little scary to just go without a landline phone completely. For sure.
I mean, the economics of this, for me, and I guess 84% of Americans, like you say, it kind of makes sense to cut out some bills. But another announcement today from Virgin Mobile said that there was, they were announcing a $50 a month unlimited phone program. Matt, do you think programs like that are going to be the kicker, or what do you think is really going to push people over the edge and kick that landline to the curb?
I think landlines are in the process of being redefined from just your standard AT&T or Bell South carrier to also including the voice over IP service that Comcast and other broadband servers or services offer. I don't have a traditional landline from AT&T, but I've had Vonix for going on about 5 years now. It's been great. It's $15 a month. I get 500 minutes, and it has that feature a lot like what MetroPCS offered today, where it can ring up to 7 or 8 cell phones at one time. So for years, I've had one phone number, and I give it out to everybody. It rings my house phone, and it rings my cell phone. Yeah, my wife can do the same thing. We are in that age where there's a transition. It's a lot like what's going on with the newspapers, where people are churning to a different source to get their source of content. It's going to the internet for newspapers.
I agree with you, Matt, and especially in the sense that I think voice is really becoming just an application. It's not necessarily a full-blown service. It's just kind of like something extra that you get with your IP connection or your IP service. And if you look at the way the cable companies are selling it and the way some of the phone companies going forward are selling it, as part of these bundles, I mean, you're really not paying very much for the actual phone service. They just want to include that in the bundle to kind of keep you on their broadband service and their TV service. And, when you look at it, it's, VoIP is pretty cheap to offer. So, they can make some money off of it and not have to spend a whole lot to offer the service.
Well, it's good to hear that we'll finally be kicking those crap phones to the curb. I mean how long have you had that? Can't hear, it's all staticky, whatever. Another phone-related announcement today, AT&T might have a new phone coming to its lineup, that is, if rumors are to be believed. According to a report in the Digitimes, which is an industry trade publication in Asia, covers the semiconductor industry, Apple has purchased millions and millions, I think the number they reported was about 100 million chips rather, from Samsung. And now these chips, of course, they handle the flash memory in the iPhone. So a lot of people are speculating that this new purchase is indicative of another iPhone release, or Apple's ramping up for something. Matt, what do you think? Do you think that Apple's going to release a new iPhone in June like they have the past 2 years?
I wouldn't say exactly for June, but the new iPhone is coming. Apple is kind of alone in the industry where they release a product once a year, where the rest of the mobile industry will update their line 2 or 3 times a year. RIM with the BlackBerries is also somewhat like that, where they do it about every 3 quarters. So Apple's due, and the report saying that they're going to release 100, or they ordered up 100 million 8 gigabit chips that's used to comprise that makes up the rest of the flash memory. It makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it's time for a new iPhone, a larger storage with video capabilities, and all the other features we've been slowly hearing about.
Yeah.
And more storage is going to be required for video.
Definitely.
So,
And when you hear about the iPhone OS 3.0 stuff, like you're saying, video, and of course, like copy and paste is finally going to come at some point once they release the update to older phones. I'm sure they'll want to show that off with a new device. Maggie, what are you thinking? Are you thinking a new phone, or I don't know? What's your view on this?
Yeah, I mean, my guess would probably be a new phone, and I think you're right on the money there about the video capability. I mean, if that's added to the phone, you're definitely going to need more memory on the phone. But let's not forget that Apple uses that flash memory on a lot of products. On their nanos and the Shuffle products. So perhaps they're doing something with that line, but as we've seen before, it seems every summer Apple is coming out with a new phone, and they seem to always do it right around the 4th of July, which really kind of screws up my holiday.
I know, you have to go cover all those people in line, all those people waiting.
Yeah, and it's hot.
Yeah, exactly. That about does it for the show, you guys. We're about out of time. Maggie Reardon from CNETnews.com, thanks so much for being with us. Also, Matt Burns from CrunchGear, CrunchGear.com. And does it for the show. I'm Randall Bennett, and we'll see you next time on TechV. As always, techv.com, the place for all information from the show. See ya.